Hello, this is Jeff. Black Wall Street Chroncles at again. And today we're going to do a lighthearted show. Being I'm a stand-up comedian, I thought it would be nice to talk about one of my favorite black comedians that was inspiring to me. You know, we should pay homage to people in our community that represents the values of free speech and taking risk and not taking any crap for anybody. Not only this comedian I'm about to talk about, it was not a great leader for black people. He was also just outspoken for, the male gender, especially in now when we in this era, #MeToo and Time's Up. We need somebody that's able to articulate the man's perspective and do it in an edgy way where it doesn't come off as being, mean. So, the comedian I'm talking about is the late, great Patrice Malcolm Oneal. The first time I saw Patrice Oneal doing stand-up comedy was in Def Comedy Jam. And the funny thing is, I forgot that he was on Def Comedy Jam because I was a little kid. I used to watch Def Comedy Jam and I just saw a whole bunch of black people being funny. I forgot that he was one of the comedians on there. So let me tell you about Patrice Oneal if you don't know who he is. Patrice Malcolm Oneal was an American stand-up comedian, actor, and radio host. He grew up in Boston and developed an interest in stand-up comedy at a young age, first performing in 1992 when his act mainly focused on conversations with his audience. Okay. Reading from this Wikipedia. Oneal became known for his controversial style, deconstructive analysis, and often confrontational point of view in his stand-up routines. His profile rose through appearance on Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn and from 2002, XM's Opie and Anthony radio show. He hosted the Black Phillip Show on radio from 2006 to 2008. In 2010, Patrice Oneal released his first and only hour-length special, Elephant in the Room, for Comedy Central, an uncut version which was released on CD and DVD. Oneal died of a stroke resulting from his type 2 diabetes on November 29, 2011, at the age of 41. So, that's the story of the great Patrice Oneal. Now, what we're going to talk about is his controversial views when it came to gender politics and how it's so relevant now. When we come and take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Patrice Oneal's analysis, shark versus penguins. Okay? Thank you. We'll return. This is Jeffrey Frazier from Black Wall Street Chroncles. Earlier I was talking about the late great Patrice Oneal. So, now, earlier I made a reference to a Shark v. Penguin reference. Now, when Patrice Oneal was a Black Phillip show and he did a couple of interviews with Matt Moran, he basically talked about the Shark versus Penguins. Now, at first, it sounds actually very funny, like you don't know what he's talking about, but you look deeper into the mating rituals of the shark and the penguin. The penguin, when they mate, they're actually one of the most monogamous animals on Earth. You know, when the female lays the egg, the male actually stays behind and actually takes care of the egg until the egg hatches, you know, and sharks, the mating ritual, the male shark just going around and just takes sex for the female shark. And if he runs into a female shark that doesn't like it, it's, well, let's just say that the great white sharks are the Ike and Tina Turners of the animal kingdom. I mean, any white man that's brave enough to get close to a great white shark while them two are fighting over sex, I commend you. I will never get that close to a great white shark. Brave ass white people. Brave ass nosy white people. Anywho. So, he used that as a reference. So he basically say that you have these women out here that are female sharks. They're the alpha females, right? And when the alpha female shark gets mad at the male shark, then they want to start dating penguins. And when the female shark is dating a male penguin, is basically she's playing with her food. She doesn't look at the shark person as the mate. She's just looking him as food to play with. And what happens when the female shark gets tired of playing with the penguin, the female shark gets tired and devours the penguin and goes back with the male shark. And that is the premise of his concept of male sharks v penguins, right? So actually this theory makes a lot of sense. It's a great analogy. I'm going to use it as an example. Okay. Let's start with Black China, right? Black China, as you know, or those who don't know, she's an Instagram model, very gorgeous. She's a stripper, Instagram model, and she's famous. And she was going around Hollywood and she was messing around with the rappers and the athletes, right? After she was done messing, she was basically a female shark, and after she was done messing with the rappers and the athletes and all of the male sharks, she wanted to date a penguin, and the penguin that she wanted to date was Rob Kardashian. And it's actually a great reference because Rob Kardashian is a cuck fat penguin. He was just this big fat chubby penguin, and you know what happened after Black China got done playing around with that penguin? She devoured him. She chewed him up, got the baby, got the bag, chewed him up, and spit him out. See, you men need to be careful. You need to be careful about these alpha females. You men, you have to be careful. You have to look in the mirror and understand yourself. Maybe that woman is a little bit too much for you to handle. Let's give another reference. We can talk about Amber Rose and Kanye West. Amber Rose is probably one of the greatest female sharks in all of hip-hop. She's been going around. She's messing with athletes. She's messing with rappers. But Kanye West is a penguin. And when Amber Rose got tired of playing with her food, she kicked Kanye West to the curb. And then Kanye West, instead of dealing with the fact that she's an alpha shark and she's too much woman for you to handle, then you want to go around and slut shame her. go around the slut shamer. It's basically, hey, whether you call Amber Rose a slut or not, you decided to date her, you was having sex with her, you was licking her bald head, she was giving you a head, you was down there all up and enjoying that exotic, mysterious little Amber Rose, and all of a sudden she doesn't do what you want her to do. Now you want to get rid of her and call her a whole bunch of hoes and bitches? Come on, man. Self-accountability. You're just a cuck penguin. Not to say nothing, we got to be careful, man. We really got to be careful, because here's another thing, because it seems like I'm actually being on a woman's side where I'm not. Not at all, because here's what's going on. I feel like we're in the era of the hashtag Me Too Time's Up movement. And we have these female sharks. These female sharks, they all go after the alpha sharks. They all go after the alpha males. When these alpha males don't want them, then they try to go after the penguins, the blue pill males, the regular guys, us monogamous guys, you know what I'm saying? And then when we find out, because we're in the age of information and everybody on the internet is talking about red pill knowledge, and they start to come out find out about the manipulating nature of some woman, then all of a sudden they find out that they're not able to get a proper mate. We have all these guys going MGTOW, saying that they're men right activists and they're becoming incels. These guys are disappearing into their comic books, their video games, and their card games. They're disappearing in their anime to cope that they're not getting attention from women. And then these women want to get mad, and then they want to shame everything that all the hobbies that men do. Oh, you're not paying attention to me, so I'm going to infiltrate your hobby and I'm going to force you to pay attention to me. And that's just creating more division in gender politics. Like, I don't know. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to give more examples of Shark v. Penguins. Thank you. Yeah. Black Wall Street Chronicles back at it again. Earlier I was talking about Patrice Oneal's theory, Sharks v Penguins. And we're talking about how does his concept actually affects gender politics today. So earlier I already told you how the hashtag #MeToo movement, the Time's Up movement, where women are angry that the men that they want are not treating them with the respect that they deserve. In my opinion, I believe that, self-accountability, maybe that something is wrong with you. Maybe the men that you're attracted to is just being disgusting. Maybe you're attracting the wrong men to you. Now, first off, if I believe that you're a victim of sexual assault and you're a victim of rape, this doesn't apply to you. I'm talking about the women who are just that disgruntled that they have been dating. They have been dating assholes and douchebags in relationships, and they want to internalize that hatred and take it out on their men. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So, let's give an example, right? So you have Cardi B. I like Cardi B I think she's okay. I personally don't have a problem with her. But you see, Cardi B, she is, I feel that all her life she's been disrespected by men. She says she's a victim of a domestic violence situation where she was in her man's mother's house, and a man used to beat her up. And the only way that she was able to get out was to go to a strip club and do what she got to do on that pole or whatever else she had to do to get that shmoney, as she says. Well, on the term when she was getting that shmoney, we finding out that she likes to, perk men up, or quaalude them as a nickname. That's what we call it ever since Cosby got caught up. So what she liked to do is she quaalude men and she steal their money and she robbed them. Now, at first, I was like, nah, there's no way. There's a big difference between robbing somebody and raping somebody. This is horseshit, right? Then she goes on the internet and then she says, oh, if a man's dick is still hard while I'm having sex with him when he's perked up, that means it's not rape. I'm like, oh, I just want to let y'all know that Bill Cosby went to jail for the same shit. She sounds like an episode of Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Like, what's up? That's crazy. Can you imagine I say some shit like that in a courtroom? I'd be like, Your Honor, it's not rape if a pussy is still wet. That's not rape. The motherfucking judge will throw me under the jail, B. Facts. I'll be all the way under the jail. The double standard of this situation is so real. And the funny thing is like, I think it's the Shark v Penguin situation where this woman, she used to chase rappers, athletes, and all the hot boys. These men treated her like crap, probably passed her around, and she got beat up. And then all of a sudden she decided to become a stripper and take out that anger that all of the men, all of those blue pill beta male manginas that was throwing money at her ass. Yeah, then this is what happens when you're dealing, she's the female shark and all of y'all desert thirst ass niggas is just penguin food to her. You're just food. She's going to devour you. All of y'all just food. So there's a couple of other situations I can use to this. Like, who's another female shark? An angry female shark that's mad. I can use Monique as a reference. I could talk about Sister Monique, even though it doesn't has necessarily do with anything sexual. But Sister Monique is angry at Oprah Winfrey, Steve Harvey, She's mad at various black men and black women who did not stick up for her for the Oscars and did not stick up for her when she was crying about not being paid equally. Monique is funnier than some of the comedians that is getting all this money on Netflix, namely Amy Schumer. Again, don't have a problem with Amy Schumer. I think she's funny, but Monique is way funnier than her. And she's been doing the fat girl jokes for years, so Monique is mad, so she's like, all right. What she's doing is she's internalizing her hatred and she's taking it out on everybody else. And the reason she's taking it out on everybody else is she's defending Roseanne. Like, she's like, fuck y'all. All right. I don't know, man. I don't know at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back and I'm going to hand out more examples of Patrice Oneal's Shark v. Penguins concept. Thanks. Welcome back. This is Jeff for Brack's Wall Street Chroncles. We back at it again. So, earlier I talked about the great Patrice Oneal and his Shark v. Penguins concept. How you have these alpha women that gets mad at because the men that they want are not treating them right, and then they go after men that's lesser, and when they're done playing and they're basically they don't treat these men as equal. They treat these men as their food, and once they're done devouring their food, they'll leave them and go back to the man that they want, actually. So we have the situation where not only the Shark v. Penguins concept goes on in relationships and sexual activity, it goes on in business, right? So we need to talk about the tragedy of Yahoo.com. You see, Yahoo.com was actually a rival to Google. It was one of the top search engines ever, right? But what happened is that the CEO of Yahoo was a woman. And what she did is she fired all the men and put the woman in the positions. So she made all of the administrative body, the manager, all controlled by women. And you know what happened? They crashed. Now the reason why they crash is because you have no diversity. So you have these women that are basically angry that men are in charge. So what they do is they infiltrate into a company. They infiltrate in this company, take it over, and then they destroy the company. It's like these women are not interested in, running a business. These women was interested to be an engineer of chaos and basically destroy something that men have created. You have to be aware of these agent of chaos women. Hurt people. You have these women that are mad at men, and you have these women that mad at society, and what they do is they take out their frustration and anger on innocent men. And if you are an entrepreneur and you own a business, you need to be cautiously aware of individuals like this. People who are agent of chaos, who just want to come in and start trouble. You need to have your human resource department running efficient. Now, I'm going to read an article about men who are falsely accused of sexual assault and how they need male recognition. All right, give me one moment. All right. This article is from this website called The Statesman. It's by Gabby Parado. This is an article written by a woman, by the way. Is interested. Maybe she's a new alt. I don't know. All right. So I'm going to read our article. 1 in 6 men will experience some form of child sexual violence in their lifetime, according to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, Yes Men. The American Psychological Association defines sexual abuse as unwanted sexual activity with their perpetrators using force, making threats, or taking advantage of victims not able to give consent. The National Sexual Violence Resource Center reported that 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted in college. Statistics like this are a perfect example of why we need to expand our mindsets. We need to expand. Give me a second. Well, we need to expand our mindsets when it comes to the involvement of men in rape culture. On Facebook, there are about only a dozen relevant pages of him #him2, a movement advocated for falsely accused attackers. Instagram has about 15,000 posts related to the hashtag compared to the female movement's 1.6 million. Lately, men especially those who have been falsely accused of rape and sexual assault cases, have been advocated to be recognized in movements relating to this. On October 31st, 2018, the NPR released a podcast elaborating on how hashtag #HimToo started as a counter movement to hashtag #MeToo. It is obvious from the number of social media lately, men, especially those who have been falsely accused of rape and sexual assault cases, have been advocating to be recognized in movements relating to this. On October 31st, 2018, NPR released a podcast elaborating on how #HimToo started as a counter movement to rape culture. Counter movement acted to rape culture. It is obvious from the number of social media posts that the movement is relatively small, but it also correlates with the number of falsely accused attackers. About 2 to 10% of rape accusations are false, according to Violence Against Women. An international journal, though this percentage is minuscule, the fact that this exists can affect falsely accused for years. In May 2018, two men, Vindeck Perry, 21 at the time, and Gregory Counts, 19 at the time, was proven innocent in a rape case in 1992. Both men were claimed guilty of raping, sodomizing, and kidnapping women. The woman claimed in the New York State Supreme Court case that she was shoved into a car in Keys and raped both in the car and in Central Park. She also claimed that there was a third man involved. All three men knew her boyfriend through selling drugs with him. The woman showed semen on her underwear to prove her case. Due to DNA testing. Hold on. Due to further investigation, DNA testing, it was found that the DNA was not Perry's or Counts. Don't get me wrong. I'm for the hashtag #MeToo movement. Give me a second. My thing is malfunctioning. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for the hashtag #MeToo. Increased sexual violence awareness and legitimate attackers should be punished severely for their actions. But those who are falsely accused should be more acknowledged, at least with more than a dozen Facebook pages. There was also a highly tweeted meme regarding #HimToo. The person who posted it had obviously had no regard for the meaning of the movement, but this teaches a lesson why it needs more recognition. #HimToo, however, should not serve as just an excuse or a way for men to pity their unwanted actions. Men cannot commit acts of rape or sexual assault and the excuse of being drunk or high. If we are going to emphasize this has to be legitimate, and the more men that don't take it seriously will reflect how the public thinks about it. This same concept also applies with hashtag #MeToo. The more false accusations, the late rape culture and the #MeToo movement will be taken seriously. Don't have tunnel vision. Realize that there's some men can be innocent too. That was actually a great article by this woman, and I respect her fairness and I respect her opinion on it. Yes, you can have tunnel vision in this situation. Men can be victims of rape and men can be found innocent of rape. You can't just make false accusations, because if you keep making false accusations, the hashtag #MeToo movement is not going to have any credibility. So we're going to come back, and when we come back, I'm going to close the show off about my opinion on the great Patrice Oneal, Shark v. Penguins, and the fact that men who are in positions of power need to worry about these women, these manipulating women who may be agents of chaos. Thank you. Yeah, this is Black Wall Street Chronicles, back at it again, taking a sip of my water. Well, I'm gonna close the show out and just want to say, if you have any questions, and I'm thinking about starting a Facebook page talking about men who are falsely accused of crimes that they didn't commit, falsely accused of rape. I think if we, start talking about that, maybe we can. I don't want to counter the hashtag Me Too movement. I think it's a good movement. And the reason why I like the hashtag Me Too movement, because it's going to expose all of the hypocrisies and the double standards of gender politics, which I think is needed. So I want to thank you very much. Look out for my next episode on YouTube. And hopefully soon I'll finally be on iTunes. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.